Hey, it's Neve, and welcome to my live video. I wanted to share with you my story, the story of how I learned to love video, the story of how it became my business. Even though when I first started using video, I was really scared of it. And a lot of you who know me, you know little bits about me, you probably know that I use video, or you know that it's something that I'm good at and it's something that I teach, but you might not know the full story of how I went from, being totally scared and shaking and hating it to loving it and going on to then teach it and have it as sort of the primary business that I am now in. So because this is a live video, if you're watching me live, you're more than welcome to leave comments. I may or may not see them. Sometimes Facebook Live can be a little funky. If you're watching the recording, you can still leave me comments and I'll still answer them if you have questions about video. But I first recorded my first video, my very first video, I don't know, I was 8. There are actual home videos, which are really cute, of my dad filming all of us. And you just hear me in the background as this little 7 or 8-year-old. Actually, I think it was younger, but it was little Neve. And I was saying, "Shine it on me, Daddy, shine it on me." So obviously, at some point in my life, I did want to be on camera and I did want to perform and all these things. But I never, once I got to that certain age where I was coming into doing business, I was doing business online actually for the last 10 years. I didn't touch video. I didn't want to go anywhere near it. I didn't want to have to think about it. I didn't want to be exposed. I'm a huge introvert. So the idea of exposing myself in this way was really scary. But I decided I had to. The reason why was I was at this event. I was going to an event where I was, just sort of one of the crowd. I was somebody who wanted to do well in business. I was there as an affiliate of a company, and I wanted to grow my business selling this company's products. So I thought that something that would be really motivating for me and something that would be motivating for my audience, my future audience, would be to go from one event being just sort of one of the crowd to the next event being brought up on stage to acknowledge how well I had done. Now, I hadn't done anything at this point, but I thought that this would make a really cool story and I thought it would be motivating for others. So I was like, what would make it even better is if I recorded a video and I could say, I'm setting out to do this, because then people will really believe it. It's one thing to tell them something, but it's totally different to show them, look, I even recorded this video before I was successful, saying I'm going to be successful. And so this was this great idea, and I could totally envision how the video was going to help people. But then it came to actually recording the video, and I was in my hotel room. I decided I wanted to do it like total proof style, like, you see kidnap proof in the movies where someone has to hold up a newspaper saying what day it is. And I realized that that only works to prove that it's that day, it doesn't prove that it's in the past. Like, I could have carried that newspaper around. I really wasn't thinking straight. But I did want to make this video. I didn't have a smartphone. This was in 2012. And I had this digital camera, but there was a video function on it. So I got a late checkout and I started trying to record this video. And it was awful. It was like the most painful experience ever. I kept focusing on, this is going to be cool. This is going to be great. People are going to love this. And as I was recording, my hands started to shake and the whole video was shaking. And I played it back and I was like, oh my God, this is awful. And that's what my voice sounds like. And it was just so humiliating, like looking at this video. And so I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again. I think I spent about 3 hours continuously doing this thing. I was talking super fast in it. Something really weird happened to my voice. I think my voice was shaking and the whole video camera was shaking. Now, what was cool about it was I was able to go away and go, okay, I never have to show this to anyone unless I actually managed to do the successful thing. And I managed to actually create, get onto this stage. Then I'll have to show it to people. And then I did. So at that point, I went and I set out and I really went for it in my affiliate business. And I created a lot of success. And so then 4 months later, there I was, or it was 3 or 4 months, there I was on stage, and they showed the video, but they had to put a stabilizer on it because it was so shaking. And putting a stabilizer on a video means that it'll only show the part of the video that's stable, and it'll cut out the shaky bits. So guess how much of the video the audience actually saw? They literally saw this strip. They saw my eyes and part of my forehead, and everything else got cut out by the video stabilizer, and it was hilarious and rather embarrassing. So that was my very first video, and at that point then I still felt pretty uncomfortable. Hi Kate, thank you. I still felt pretty uncomfortable knowing that it's very exposing. Like, it felt really uncomfortable to be in this vulnerable position of not feeling confident and feeling like, oh, people are going to see me all awkward, and they're going to see this shaky video, and they're going to hear my voice shaking because I can hear it shaking. And so it was very uncomfortable to sort of practice this and do this. But people kept telling me, well, video is the future. Video is powerful. You have to do video. So I was trying and finding it really awkward and really uncomfortable. I was continuing to do it, and I was getting good response, because every time I shared a video, people would respond to it. And actually, I discovered that the more ums and ahs and the more sort of real I was, the more response I got. Because I'd always considered video something you have to come and perform in, as something that you have to, you have to show up. You have to be like you're on TV. You have to talk the way announcers talk, because that's how people are used to hearing things. And my brother is a major Toasties person, Toastmasters, he always calls it Toasties. So he does competitions and all this stuff. So he's an ace speech giver, and he would give me all these rules of, like, you have to, have a, certain pace, and he involves humor and all this great stuff. And so I always thought that that's what it was. I was like, okay, I have to perform. So then when I was going to record a video, I would do all kinds of things. I would kind of get really dressed up. I would make sure that there was absolutely nothing in my background that would probably be embarrassing. And then I would get nervous, and I would talk really fast. If I had ums and ahs, I would stop. I would actually hit stop on the recording and start over again, because I had to get the perfect take. That's what I was obsessed with, was the perfect take. And I can tell you how often you get the perfect take is incredibly rare. And so it would take me like hours to record 1 or 2 videos. And so this whole thing was, I was doing it because I saw the value. I saw people responding to video. I saw that they were answering me more than they would if I posted blog posts. At that point, I was posting blog posts, and I was posting every single day. I was slaving away to write out these blog posts, and I would get all this higher response to video. But I still didn't like it. And I still felt like, this is so uncomfortable and so vulnerable and so exposed. And I'm an introvert, and don't you know, I want to just hide in a hole and like bring my blanket in with me and my Kindle, and I'll be happy, and I just don't ever have to interact with anybody. And so it was this very awkward time. And then I actually participated in a video challenge. A wonderful friend of mine named Michelle Holmes was running a video challenge that was all about, not so much about video as it was about transformation. She teaches people transformation. She supports people in kind of deep diving and self-discovery. And I thought, well, this sounds interesting. So I'd love to learn a little more about myself. I'd love to understand more about transforming in the ways I want to transform. And I got that, but I also discovered that by the end of that challenge, because I relaxed, because I wasn't trying to perform, because I was actually just recording a video just to participate in the challenge without feeling like it was for my audience, or feeling like I had some other agenda, or feeling like it had to be perfect, I could just turn on my camera and record the first take and be done with it. And this was like revolutionary to me, because I had felt so massively uncomfortable. I don't know if you've ever recorded a video, but if you have, you probably have had the little voice experience where you're talking and the camera is rolling, and there's a little voice talking all throughout. I always thought that you couldn't actually have thoughts and talk at the same time, but it turns out that you can. So you can be talking and have a little voice in your head going, oh my God, that was ridiculous. Why did you say that? People are going to think you're crazy. And so this was always, there was this running monologue in my head all the time, and eventually it would get to me, and I would stop my video. And it's painful. It was really uncomfortable. But yeah, so I did this video challenge and I was like, wow, actually at the end of that, I felt like it's okay. It's really okay to turn on a camera and be myself. And I discovered watching other people's videos that I liked it. I liked it when they were real. I liked it when they had ums and ahs and mistakes. I didn't like it when it was all polished and professional. I didn't feel like I got to know people when they were performing. But if they were just kind of casually showing up, talking to me like a real person, I really genuinely enjoyed it more and I felt more connected. And so after that video challenge, I was able to take that into my business, and then video became everything to me. I began to use it everywhere. I wouldn't even write long emails. I would send my list of video. I would, post videos on my YouTube. I would post videos for my blog posts. I stopped writing blog posts, and I found that it just was so liberating. And as a huge introvert, it actually became easier for me because I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to the little green dot, when I'm recording on camera. So as soon as I was able to say, okay, it's okay to have the mistakes, then the voice also quietened in my head because I realized that, it could be criticizing me, but it didn't matter because I would go, oh, well, that's just a mistake that will make me more appealing to my audience. And that really, really, really helped. So this video challenge really transformed things for me. And then I started to have a lot of success. Like my affiliate business started to go really, really well. I discovered that I could do a lot more in a lot less time by using video. And so this was a really, really good time for me. And then I had a bit of a crisis, a bit of a breakdown when I got to this point where I was reading 100 books a year. Forgive me for all that nose itching. I have allergies. But I was reading 100 books a year at this point. This was in 2015. I was like, 2014? 2014, I think it is now. Anyway, at some point, I decided I wanted to read 100 books a year because I was out of the habit of reading. But in the process of reading, 50 of those were nonfiction. So a lot of them were actual self-help books and motivation and life transformation and where do you want to go in your life and what do you want to do. And in all of that, I realized, oh shit, I don't want to just promote someone else's thing. I have things I want to create. I have things I want to help people do. And I realized that I had to start creating my own products and services. And that was really, really scary because I'd never done it before. And I had a lot of success selling someone else's stuff with video. But this idea of like, okay, now go create your own thing and handle customer service and also be good enough, create something that's actually going to be valuable and good for people and then go sell it. This was suddenly like, but I decided to do the same thing that I had always done and make my training conversational and real and make my sales videos conversational and real. At that point, I was so used to doing videos mostly in the first take. I won't lie, I do occasionally still go, and stop and start again. But I was mostly in the habit of unscripted videos, just showing up, just being there. And so I began to do that in my new business. So I created a course and I created training videos in that course. And this wasn't about video, it was something totally different. But I was using all my video skills now to create programs, to sell the programs, to create the pathway into the programs. And it worked on my first go. And I really believe that's the power of video because you're with people the whole time. You're cutting through the noise because they're seeing a real person. They're seeing who you are. And so this was really amazing to me. And guys, I know there's some comments. I'll get your comments in a little bit. Yeah, it felt really, really good. And I would find that even as I was doing that, people would ask me a lot of questions about video because they'd see that that's the main thing that I was doing. And so I realized, I was like, well, you know what? When I wanted to learn video, I went and I did actually a few video challenges and I bought courses on video and I'd been using video. I'd been using YouTube. I'd been getting tons of free traffic from YouTube. As someone just pointed out, Renette just pointed out, I do now have 1 million YouTube views, which I'm very proud of. But I had been doing all this stuff with video and using it strategically and using it in a way that felt really good and that felt really authentic. So people would ask me questions about it. So at that point, I decided that it was time to run my own challenge. And that decision, just like all of my decisions, did not come easily to me. It came with this it starts with this sort of subtle whisper like, ooh, maybe you should do this. And then after a while, you feel more and more pulled to it. And even though your logical brain is going, oh no, but that's so scary, then you still kind of end up going, oh, but I have to do this. I feel really called to do this. So I started my first 30-day video challenge, and that was now 2 years ago. It was October 2015. This was terrifying because I'd never done a challenge. I'd never done anything like it, but it was really, really fun. We had something like 30 people go through that challenge, and the connections that we made and watching someone transform, because on video, you see them on day one and you see them on that final day, and they go from the same thing that I had. Not everyone is shaking, but a lot of people are kind of uncomfortable, not quite ready to be themselves yet, to like in themselves and confident, and their videos are looking and sounding good. And it was so inspiring to watch, and it was a total thrill. And then I began to do it again and again, and I think, I have no idea even what number challenge we're on. We've done a couple versions of the challenge, we've done a shorter challenge, but I love the 30-day challenge. I love it. I love being in this process with people. I love watching the transformation happen sort of before our very eyes. How I do a video challenge is it's in a private group. You get a tip and a prompt every day. You get a daily video from me where you get a tip about how to light and make your equipment work well and frame your videos and make them look and sound pretty professional. And then you also get a prompt so that you have something to say in your video, so you can practice in this totally safe environment, so you can start to just see if you're comfortable, see if video is for you. You know, I know that this is not some magical process. I don't believe in magic buttons. I don't think that every single person who ever goes through a video challenge is like, that's it, now I'm using video forever. But I think it can answer the question. I think it can help people to overcome the initial huge hurdle of, it's scary and I have to learn. And they can see by the end of it, you know, is video for you or not? And you will absolutely shift how you feel. It's very, very transformational. So I do have the latest video challenge coming up, which is starting on Monday. I put the link in the description of this video if you want to hop in. But yeah, that has been a joy. You know, the challenge has grown. Now we're at the point where we have, you know, thousands of people go through it. And we now have to have these circles, which are these smaller groups within the group, to allow for the size and scale that the challenge has got to, and still have that sort of really close and really connected feel and that ability to watch each other transform. I find value is not just in doing something ourselves, but it's in doing it with others, because we learn from watching others. And no one, I can tell you until I'm blue in the face, that having imperfections in your video will actually help your audience connect to you better. But you're not going to believe me until you see other people, until you see people make mistakes or have something pop up in the background, or have to handle, you know, itchy noses and random other things. And you'll realize that those are the videos you're drawn to, and those are the ones that make you really connect to someone and really feel, you know, like true, real people in the world. And so I think going through the experience with other people, it doesn't just help you to discover what, you know, is video for you, but it helps you to see that it really is okay to just be yourself. It really is okay not to perform. And I think that when people can overcome the performance aspect, that's when video gets really good. And so when I started my video challenge, I was selling other stuff, you know, at that point. I wasn't even really promoting teaching video. People asked me about it a lot, and I wanted to use it as a way for people to get to know me. But I had all this knowledge, so I began to then use it as a way to grow a membership community, and I love that. It's been a really amazing process. So I do go from challenge to challenge now. We don't do them all the time at this point because they're really big and a lot of work goes into it. But I am doing these a couple times a year. So if you would like to hop in, we would totally love to have you. It's a really fun experience. Whether you've done it before, you will get more every time. I get more every time just by watching other people. And at this stage of my business, I wouldn't say anyone ever gets to the point where video is just like, yeah, no problem. Because sometimes it's like you care. It's just like having a conversation. So sometimes there'll be conversations that you go, oh, I really need to share this thing, but it's a little bit scary. Or, oh, I haven't talked to these people in a little while. You know, it's real life. Video is the same as real life. So I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be, you know, something that it's going to solve every problem that you ever have forever. But it will shift your ability to turn on a camera and just be yourself. And it'll provide you with a whole new way to communicate with your audience, which is what's really, really good about it, being able to connect to people. So much fun to see so many of you on. Barbara, thank you so much for sharing your experience with the challenge. I see Jacqueline is on and saying imperfections are authentic and they really do create connections. I know a few of you left comments, and my apologies for just talking through. I realized 20 minutes. I realized that I had a lot of history to cover there to really tell you my story with video. So I will go through and respond to your comments in a moment. But I just want to say thank you for coming and hanging out with me. You know, videos they're nothing without an audience. They're just something you're sticking out into the void. They're just little bits of code. But having people who are responding to videos, that's really what's made the experience so incredible, and that's what's allowed me to kind of go from strength to strength. I don't think I ever would have continued videos except that I saw that people were connecting to them, and I saw that they were making a difference, and I saw that, you know, that, to be honest, they also made a huge difference to the bottom line. Like, they really have helped me to build a really powerful business. So thank you all as audience members and people who've watched me in any capacity. It's an absolute joy to share parts of myself with you and to hear about you when you're in your videos. And thank you so much for being an audience member. So if you want to hop in, that challenge is starting on Monday. I'd love to have you. The link to join is in the description of this video. Lots of love from me, and hope to see you in the Ignite Video Challenge starting on Monday. Bye, everyone.